All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish, and I'm here once again with my cat Dorothy, who just jumped into the microphone, and I'm also here through the miracle of computer phone with my good buddy Dave DeFore. Dave, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know, man. Anything going on?
No, I'll tell you. Obviously, this is basically an emergency podcast.
Yeah. The Treasury Department is under. No.
Yeah. Here's the joke I was going to use. Emergency podcast. The Raptors have won 7 of 8. Or is it 6 of 7? I can't remember.
Dude, Saturday night blew my mind.
The Raptors are competitive, but no, seriously, let's get right into it, because it was the Luka Doncic trade was literally, I don't think it's hyperbole to say it's the most shocking trade that's happened in the NBA. And it was unpleasant for me getting the alert, because I feel like you get to a point in your life, you really value comfort and knowing things are secure and knowing just normal things are going to happen. Looking at that. So I still have, Dave, you don't like a phone alert. No. I've got my Shams Charania notifications on, and I just stared at it and was like, what? And then it was like, I legitimately believe most people thought it was hacked. Like he was hacked. And I'm talking about, like, people didn't even react. They're like, what's this? This doesn't make any sense. And I was watching the Blazers game, and the Blazers announcers are even like, ESPN's reporting that Luka Doncic got traded. But is that true? Like, there's never been anything like that. And then, like, Shams Charania has to tweet, "This is real," which is also the thing a hacker would say. But the details, all the trade details, where I'm like, I don't know if the hacker would have included Markieff Morris, like in and so it was so surreal and surprising and stunning. I even told my wife was in bed. She would, this happened like 15 minutes after she went to sleep, and I literally
it was pretty late, even out here.
It was pretty late, and I told her the next morning, I'm like, I know you make the joke all the time. Anytime I look at my phone, if I'm adjusting my fantasy basketball lineup while we're making dinner, she's like, "Hey, big trade." That's what she says. Like, "Hey, why are you on your phone?" And I'm like, "Hey, no joke. I think this was the biggest trade of my lifetime." She's like, "Your lifetime?" And in her head, she's like, "You're such a loser." But then but I was like, "No, really what? I think it's the biggest trade of my lifetime." But anyways,
do you want to hear how I heard?
How'd you hear?
The daily's like kind of like eating up a lot of what used to be social time. So I haven't hung out with my friends in a while. It's winter time. We had the holidays.
Yeah.
So I got together with my friends like Saturday evening, had a little dinner, was hanging out. Well, as you mentioned, there's no phone notifications. I don't have Twitter on my phone or any of that.
Sure.
And my phone was in a bag on silent. And my buddy walks in, and he's a sports fan, right? And he's also always trying to make jokes. He knows he knows I don't have my phone on, right?
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, Dave, what do you think about that big trade?" I'm like, "Ha ha ha, very funny, Jaron,
right.
Funny, ha." So go back to the conversation. He's like, "No, really. Unless Shams was hacked," and I was like, he said Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic, and he said it in a way where I'm like, okay, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Yeah,
I'm like, come on, man. That's goofy. At least come up with a good one. I was like, you could have done a De'Aaron Fox trade. He's like, no. And he pulled out his phone and he showed me this. And I guess I had a look on my face of disgust.
Yeah.
It was like clearly like a moment.
Yeah.
It was like I got punched in the chest, Keith.
It was weird. It's
not a fun surprise.
Something that's surprising. I'm with you. Not fun.
It wasn't.
So it's now been, it's been 48 hours since the trade went down or something?
36.
Whatever. So my initial shock, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would anyone do this? And then I started being like, oh, they must really think Luka just can't play basketball, which is just a weird position. That was like my initial latest on Saturday night, where I'm like, all right. As of Sunday morning, now stretched through Monday morning, I think this is one of the worst trades I've ever seen in any sport.
Sports history.
Like, I'm trying to cross sports compare it. Where I'm like, oh, wow, like the Broncos trading for Russell Wilson. They gave up all this stuff. But all those things just pale in comparison because, like, my biggest takeaway for the Mavericks, well, I don't know if this is the biggest. This is one of them. This seems like a trade that would be made by someone who has no comprehension what professional sports even are. Because, like, if you work for the Dallas Mavericks, you're in the Luka Doncic business. That's your business.
Literally.
And it's a very profitable, good business beyond basketball fit. Let's imagine Luka was bad at basketball, which he's not. He's one of the best players ever. Let's imagine Luka was bad at basketball, but still, he's the reason you're on TV. He's the reason why you have so many social media subscribers. He's the reason people are watching your shows. He's the reason why people show up to the games. Like, you sell tickets. He's everything. And he was going to be there forever. And also, he was more popular among his fan base than, I don't know who you compare it to. I'd say it's on par with Jokic on the Mavericks.
In a bigger market.
But I'm talking about across sports. We're talking about like Patrick Mahomes on the Chiefs. As far as like your entire franchise, your fan base, they are just this one person. And football's a bad example because there's so many people on the team. Like, there aren't Mavericks fans. There's probably like 12 who are like,
well, they're about to find out.
I don't really like Luka. We need someone who plays harder. And one of them runs the team, apparently. But like, that part of it to me, where when you trade a player and like you and me, Dave, we don't cheer for the Mavericks.
No,
I'd cheer against the Mavericks. You said it was like you got punched in the chest. For the tens of thousands of like hardcore Mavericks fans, legitimately, it felt like a death in the family. Like, it's that kind of shock. And I don't mean to make light of it or to compare sports to like, this is, but seriously, sports are people's lives. And to have something that stunning for what reason? Like, for why? For
nothing.
Like, that part of it brings me back to, I think this was the worst trade I've ever heard of.
Yeah, I've been calling it the worst trade in sports history. And people keep saying, well, Anthony Davis, it's Anthony Davis. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So, and he's not going to be there that long, maybe. You know what I mean? I mean, well, he'll take the big contract or whatever, but I just don't get it, man. It's confusing. Even if you got proper value, it's confusing because Luka Doncic doesn't grow on trees.
There is no proper value.
There isn't.
Yeah. Like, if this is
a sport where 5 guys are on the court, one guy can make such a huge difference, and there's 4 or 5 of those guys at any one time, and you had one.
You had one who did not want to go, who wanted to be there. There is no correct value. I think when you weigh in your fan reaction, the fan attachment to that player, and just how much, again, he is a business entity upon himself. Like, this is a devastating blow to every single Mavericks podcast. Like, This is a devastating blow to anyone in the business. If you have any kind of like merchandise business around the Mavericks, if you have a TV show around the Mavericks, if you have a restaurant near the Mavericks, like, this is a devastating blow for all that. And the fact that this is not like an on paper basketball win, like if you're playing 2K, Dave, this is an interesting, I might be as good at basketball if I trade this one guy, but right. It's a fully integrated lifestyle, professional entertainment product. Yeah. You're not going to be on Christmas Day anymore, but even going to the basketball product, Dave, the Mavericks, in my mind, we're going to be a title contender for the next 8 seasons, modestly. Like they put out all this stuff about like, we did it, the Supermax is something you got to consider. I mean, good job for Tim McMahon at the press conference being like, I think he said something like, why was the Supermax a tough decision? Or why would the Supermax be a tough decision for Luka? And and Nico was like, well, I mean, it's not a tough decision, but once you offer it, then you're on the clock. What does that even mean? You're in the Luka Doncic business. That is your business. Like, that's your entire thing. You get to build, you have the privilege of building around one of the 3 players that matters for the next however many years. I'm stunned by it. It doesn't make any sense.
How do other teams, like, can they file a grievance? You know what I mean?
Don't.
Like,
I legitimately am like,
it's incompetence.
Can a fan base? So you say other teams. I don't think other teams should. This is
right.
Other teams are like, this is amazing. You made the league. I mean, I feel like you kind of flattened the league. Like, you were a title contender. Now you're not, Mavericks. The Lakers weren't a title contender. I don't think they are. I still don't think they are.
Not yet.
But you can complain like, hey, why did you give the Lakers a lifeline into having now 10 more years of superstardom? Like, they did not have that. But I feel like, as if you're a season ticket holder among the Mavericks, if you're someone with a financial interest in the Mavericks, this seems like the sort of thing that you should put together a lawsuit, get a judge to file a restraining order. Because, like, when you hear the things Nico Harrison says with like his like kind of nervous, I'm making little jokes energy, like I don't want to criticize someone whose entire persona is just cracking jokes and everything. But like, when they're saying, when he specifically mentioned to him, the future of the Dallas Mavericks is the next 3 to 4 years, not the next 10 years. That is, I need to file an injunction. There needs to be a restraining order. How can you let this person make a decision this monumental that affects so many thousands of people and like thousands of businesses? Like, that is, it doesn't make any sense.
We live in a time where, conspiracy theories are kind of rampant, but also true. This is one where it's like, you know what? I'm reading the conspiracy theories out there.
What's the best one you've heard? The
best
one
you
attached to.
And this one's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't real, but that they want to somehow, pull like a major league and tank the team,
dude,
so that they can get into an arena fight that's fake, so that they can get their casino through.
Yeah.
Look, these people already pay more money. The Adelsons pay more money to Texas politicians in the legislature than anyone else in the country, I'm assuming. And they couldn't get it through, so they got 2 years to wait. Driving down the value of your product doesn't make any sense to me. But the owner has to sign off on this, Keith. Like, this is not like, it's not like Nico Harrison was abducted Luka Doncic and smuggled him to the Lakers illegally. Like, there are multiple steps in this process, but all of them might have been worth it to watch Jason Kidd die inside during the press conference.
I mean, so like, Harrison's cracking jokes and Jason Kidd is not cracking jokes.
No,
his face is not cracking. I mean, he did a good job of solidarity of being like, we get a win now player, a two-way guy, and Anthony Davis. The conspiracy theory that they're pulling a major league, that I feel like that holds a little bit of water with me.
Yeah.
Because like everything I was saying, you've destroyed the value of your product. The Dallas Mavericks are worth less right now.
Right. The area is gonna go down.
Yeah, like that arena. like you know how hard it is to make your NBA franchise be worth less, but you did it. And the idea that the Adelsons, that they've been trying to get the Texas state legislature to legalize a casino so they can have a casino arena. And this is Adelson. And there is some part of like, if when we try to keep politics out of sports or politics out of this episode, the Adelsons are self-described Trump mega donors. And like, you think about, all right, what's the angle here? And are they trying to destroy the value of this franchise for some? What's the bigger play? Because that doesn't make any sense.
And the money of the NBA team is peanuts to them.
Yeah, and the idea of driving down the value of the Mavericks, because then maybe they would force their way back to Las Vegas if they can't if maybe Vegas is an expansion. These are some wild conspiracy theories. There also was conspiracy theories of like, are Luka's politics wrong?
Is Nico Harrison a Nike sleeper agent or Rob Pelinka sleeper agent?
And then there's parts of it where people are like, Nico is just putting up the front that this was my idea, when clearly the ownership was like, no, that guy has to get off our team or something. But all of these things happen. The reason conspiracy theories start.
Why does Anthony Davis waive his trade kicker, Keith?
The reason conspiracy theories start a lot of times, it's for one, ignorance, and two, when we can't explain something.
Right.
All right. Lots of viruses and diseases, science can explain them.
Right.
Trading Luka Doncic to the Lakers, inexplicable. No data supports this. So we then look to the gods / the conspiracy theorists to be like, what's going on? Dave.
Insane.
If you were to pick any player you wanted to build your team around for a playoff series, who are you picking? Who's like?
I mean, I'm going to start with Jokic.
Jokic is number one.
Yeah.
And who's number two?
Man, it could be Luka.
How heavy would Luka Doncic have to be before he wasn't your second pick?
Oh man.
Because literally also, all right, so Nico Harrison Harrison in the press conference says something like, I'm not going to say anything bad about a player. That's not what I do. Right. And yet every ESPN person has all these quotes from the team like, oh, his conditioning's not there. He weighs 270 pounds now. I mean, his welcome to LA photo where Luka's coming off the plane, he looks beefy. Yeah. But I'm serious. In out of shape Luka Doncic, I think is consensus the second pick on which player would you want. They went to the finals last year. And now they're trading the best player on a finals team under the pretext of it's for basketball reasons to get better now and in the future. Asterisk, the future means the next 3 to 4 seasons.
Yeah.
This is the worst trade imaginable.
It makes honestly like the value here is also an issue for me, Keith, because it just says that, I mean, we know value is inherent, right? Like there is no concrete value anywhere, but Mikal Bridges got 5 first-round picks for the Nets, and it's just like, Luka Doncic, you got nothing.
All right, so I want to make sure I'm not getting carried away. And I'm not like fully considering this stunning move because maybe like this is a bold, risky move.
Well, anytime, Keith, you can get older, less talented, and have less long-term control of your star player. I mean, you got to do it.
Right. Again, my impression was, okay, you took a 10-year title window and made it a 0-year title window. Like that is inexcusable. But maybe, just maybe, like Anthony Davis is super great. Maybe, possibly, Luka, like, do they have precogs? Minority Report precogs? We're like, listen, Luka is going to pull a calf muscle every season for the next 5 years.
I thought you were going to say Luka's going to commit a crime.
Yeah. He's going to commit sedition. Yeah. He's going to storm the Capitol.
Oh, man.
Because this takes for me, the thing Nico said, defending the move or explaining the move, he would say, is he got out ahead. Right. He got out ahead of it.
Tumultuous.
He got out ahead of like a lot of teams making free agent pushes at Luka.
You've got the hot girl, man. That's you gotta.
You have it all. Keith. But like, so maybe if he turns into Zion Williamson and just can't be on the court, period.
Right.
Then you could look back in retrospect and be like, you know what? They got out the right time. So like
and Anthony Davis played the same percentage of games the last like 3 seasons or something.
I mean, I will grant you Anthony Davis, as we know, much older. So maybe that's more concerning that Luka at 25 has already missed this many games. I'm just saying in retrospect, you can look and say, all right, if he's going to be that injury prone, but then I go back to the whole, this is the most important player to your entire fan base and to every season ticket holder and to like thousands and thousands of kids who are fans who on Sunday morning, their parents got the opportunity to be like, hey, your favorite player, he's gone. Why? I don't know. Because everything a billionaire touches will get ruined. But no, I don't know. I don't know what you tell your kids.
It would have been it would have been like the Cavs trading LeBron to Miami in 2010 instead of him leaving.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it. But for like, I don't know who was there that they would have maybe gotten, that was,
Dwayne Wade, but you wouldn't even gotten Dwayne Wade.
Right. You wouldn't have gotten Dwayne Wade. I don't know. I can't think of a single trade in any sport that even approaches it, Keith, at all. And it's so lopsided as well. Right. And this is, again, Anthony Davis is good. He's very good. He's, I don't know, top 15 player, but it's about Anthony Davis. Now you have Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. You have two number twos, and you had not just a number one, one of the number ones, one of the five guys that can win a title. If he's on your team, you have a chance to win every single basketball game you're in. And Anthony Davis isn't that guy. So to take a step back there, and then the team was built with Luka in mind. Klay Thompson doesn't come there to play with Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving.
I posted this on social media.
He's bad, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, Max Christie's better than Klay Thompson.
Yes, yeah.
Hey, good get. You got Max Christie. You did not get Austin Reeves. You didn't even get that much. You didn't even get the 2031 Lakers pick. You got the 2029 Lakers first. I'm at a loss. I was gonna say, if you were told 3 seasons ago that Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and Klay Thompson were going to be on the same team, which team will they be on?
Oh, Lakers.
But you would have guessed Warriors, Nets. Do they team up in Miami somehow? How did they you? You wouldn't even gotten to the Mavericks because you would have never traded Luka Doncic. Shout out Jaren Jackson Jr. being the last surviving. Ayton, no cross off. Bagley, no cross off. Doncic got traded. Trae
Young.
Yeah, Trae Young still there. Trae Young all-star snub.
Absolutely.
I'll be real, Dave. I was the all-star snub episode gets erased by the Luka Doncic traded episode. I was legitimately extremely surprised Tyler Hero was an all-star over Trae Young. Maybe it's my years-long just ignoring of Tyler Hero's contributions to basketball. But for me, Trae Young's a star. And he's he's good. Yeah, the Hawks are up and down, but the Hawks and the Heat are basically the same. You're not putting in Trae Young leading the league in assists. I was surprised
30-20. By that. He puts up 30-20. You know what I mean? He's built for that. Sabonis also got hosed.
Who would you put Sabonis in over?
Şengün.
Yeah, I'm surprised Şengün got in, but that's one of those.
Put a rocket in.
Yeah, you got to have a rocket. Kyrie Irving a little bit snubbed. I feel like maybe Kyrie. Sabonis is. I don't know.
I don't think Kyrie got snubbed.
Let's go back to the trade because. So we'll talk about the De'Aaron Fox trade in a second. No, but before we wrap up, or we move on from the Doncic trade, we haven't talked about the Lakers aspect of it that much. It's pretty clear. But this is a question I've gotten a lot from Patreon supporters. I've heard people talking about it just in random text groups I'm in. Who's the best player the Mavericks could have gotten for Luka Doncic? And is it Anthony Davis?
See, this is interesting, right? Because if they called Milwaukee,
there are some reports they did, but I don't know if I believe them.
But if they offer Luka for Giannis and you're Milwaukee, you have to think about it, right?
You have to think about it, but also if you're in Milwaukee,
same situation.
You're in the Giannis business.
Right.
Giannis is your guy.
Yeah.
in my mind, it's just not worth disrupting. I don't know even what you would call it. Just the fan base, just the fact that we have our guy,
the ecosystem.
If the Bucks had never won a title, then maybe I guess you consider it, but you've won the title with Giannis. Giannis is your person. You stay faithful to that person until they leave you. That's my view of just like
Shea?
Sports.
What about Shea? If they called up OKC, you don't think? I mean, obviously, I think they say no.
Yeah, I think that's an easy no for the Thunder.
So we're looking like Boston. Would they give up Tatum? I don't think so.
I think they would actually, maybe.
Wow.
I think they probably. I think
the defense. I think matters to them.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not sure where you go then. I mean, like Anthony Davis. If we're saying he's a top 15 guy,
yeah, I'm comfortable calling him a top 15 player.
Yeah.
The whole premise of him being like Nico double countered him is like we traded Luka for an all NBA center and an all defensive first team player. It's like, no, you traded him for one guy who is close to those things, but like Anthony Davis does not anchor great defenses. He's a very good individual defensive player. This also gets me when people are like if like Anthony Davis is like blocking Jaren Jackson Jr.'s shot over and over and over. And people are like, oh, but Jaren's the defensive player of the year. And then like Anthony Davis is scoring 30 points on Jaren. I'm always like, guys, the award is not who guards Anthony Davis the best. The award is not who guards any player the best. The award is who plays the best defense and helps everybody out. And like, it's a team thing. And
that's the other weird part, Keith, to me is like, you've got, all right, so Anthony Davis now has two centers to play next to.
Yeah, right? You got Gafford and Lively, although Lively, of course, hurt for a while.
Right. And now PJ Washington is your three.
Yeah, not great. Not great there.
Clay is going to sometimes be the two when he's playing, and Kyrie is your one. All right.
I mean, is Max Christie starting?
I don't. Now, if you're Klay Thompson, did you come there to come off the bench? I don't know. I don't think the defense is going to be all that good. I think that historic offense potential that they had is much lower now, Keith.
Yeah.
Who's going to shoot? Where's the space? Maxi Kleber for this team. Do you know how much he played?
He's been playing a lot recent, but he's also injured.
Whenever he was healthy, he was out in the rotation, heavy minutes. And I don't know. I just don't like. I think Dallas, I mean, they got worse short term. They got worse long term. I think their floor is lower. I think their ceiling is obviously lower.
Dave.
They were in the finals, Keith.
Dave.
They were just in the finals.
Do the Mavericks make the play-in?
Where are they right now?
They are 1 game up on the Warriors. They are 3 games up on the Spurs. Anthony Davis is not playing for a week. Anthony Davis is not playing for a week, at least. Mm-hmm. He's hurt.
Kings, though, I don't know what's going to go on with them here in the next few days.
So, yeah, I'm with you. I don't think the Mavericks I don't think they got better. No, of course, because you lost Luka.
Not. Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's just stupid. Even if Luka was going to play, I don't know. Like, that's the issue is Luka, you don't trust him to be healthy ever again. That's the only way it works out. How good are the Lakers now before we move on to the Kings and the Spurs trade? How good are the Lakers with Luka and LeBron? I mean, we're talking that's an all time, just kind of mind blowing pairing.
It's funny.
2 of the best passers, a player LeBron, I think, very comfortable being the secondary player to him. He's very comfortable with passing it on and being like, hey, it's yours now. However, they have some holes on the roster.
Well, I'm assuming, look, they can't be done. Right. Yeah. I think we saw some people say that they were maybe kicking the tires on Nick Claxton. Obviously that'd be great. But look, this year, oddly enough, if Luka is going to be back and be healthy, and let's say Luka, like pie in the sky, Luka and LeBron play the rest of the season and they're healthy, I think they could stay where they're at. because the offense will give them that higher floor. Their defense is going to be awful.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, the defense, huge concern.
Yeah.
Another name, maybe, I don't know if they would have like a Mitchell Robinson who might be returning in the next week or two.
Yeah.
They need a lob threat.
I think the Knicks need him though.
The Lakers look like they need a lob threat. No, but if Luke is healthy, I don't think this is a hot take. If Luke is healthy, the Lakers are better than the Mavericks.
Yes.
like the Lakers are better than the Mavericks this season.
Today, yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Right.
Like, I want that more. I want that more than anything in the playoffs.
I'm so confused by this whole thing.
But anyways, incredible trade for the Lakers. Also, all those things that Nico Harrison said, there was some I wanted to credit the social media user who spelled it out to me before I went and actually watched the press conference or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I wrote it down somewhere.
I got to say, look, for what it's worth, Lakers fans being incredibly graceful about this. This is like, they know there is none of this thing where you're sheepish. You're Pau Gasol. They are.
I'm glad you mentioned Pau Gasol. This is like the most supersized version of the Pau Gasol trade, where it's like, wait, you just gave Pau Gasol to the Lakers? There was no bidding process? No, this guy, it's Bilal A on Twitter was like, he could not believe that Nico Harrison in the press conference spelled out that one, the Mavericks owner laughed and thought he was joking when he brought it up. Pelinka thought he was joking when he brought it up. Luka did not indicate he wanted out or would not resign. And also that he said that he and Jason Kidd wouldn't have jobs in 3 to 4 years. Like the fact that he said all that is all incredible. I'm blown away. Dave, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit about the rest of the league. We'll have an awards segment and we'll hit the De'Aaron Fox trade. All right, Dave, before we hit the De'Aaron Fox trade, I actually have one more follow-up question about the Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis trade.
Yeah.
Dave, does defense win championships? That's what Nico Harrison said. He said they wanted to get a defensive first player in. They said it over and over. Defense win championships. Does defense win championships?
I guess. I mean, but offense beats defense, Yeah.
What's
like
the
Boston
formula?
had a historic offense last year, and Dallas got to the finals because of, they had an amazing defense, right? Like that's why they made this run.
What's the worst offensive team to win a title in the last 15 years? Wasn't it like maybe the bubble Lakers? I can't remember.
Could have been.
I feel like you have to be defense wins championships if you have an elite offense. I think is the full statement. Like guys, I don't know if you're watching sports nowadays. Defense doesn't win championships in college football, in pro football, or in professional basketball.
Though, Keith, every playoff that Luka's in, people are like, "Oh, look, he can defend," because he does defend. Like I don't know, it's just that's such a silly. It was a silly argument or a silly point to make. Even that press conference was absurd, Keith. I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing too. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm so relieved I don't have a stake in the Dallas Mavericks because I wouldn't know what to do with my anger.
I will tell you, Keith, like I don't have a stake in any team.
Yeah.
But it's nice that Dallas had a guy that you had to care about. And those guys being distributed around the league is actually good. Parity has been fun, at least this year for me. I just think I don't know, man. I'm not a Laker hater.
So also you said the parity being distributed on the league is good. I actually think this trade is bad for the NBA at large. You already have a marquee franchise in the Lakers. Yep. Maybe it's good. Maybe the idea of creating super teams is actually good because it gets more casual viewers to tune in. But my thought is like, you just wrecked one of your big draws in Dallas and you just added it to a team that was already had a lot of eyeballs on it. Anyways,
they
Dave,
could have won a title this year, Keith.
Yeah. It would have been hard coming from the play-in, but like that's possible.
Yeah.
I I recorded a Grits and Grinds episode earlier, and from a specifically Grizzlies perspective, I love the trade because it kills the future of the Mavericks. Kyrie's 33, Anthony Davis turns 32 any day now, and they don't have their draft picks going forward. This is a team that had 25-year-old Luka Doncic. You just killed your franchise for a decade. I love it as a Grizzlies fan. I thought we had to face Luka for the next 10 years. Perfect. Well done. The Sacramento Kings did, in fact, trade De'Aaron Fox to the San Antonio Spurs. It was a three-way deal involving the Chicago Bulls. Also, by the way, Luka Doncic trade, three-way trade. Good job, Jazz, grabbing a Jalen Hood-Schifino in the mess. The Spurs get De'Aaron Fox. The Kings get Zach LaVine. We'll say 2 first-round picks because they did not get 3 first round. They got 2 first-round picks and 5 second-round picks. Some of them very good second-round picks. Meanwhile, the Bulls get a bag of apples. I don't know whether they
got Bulls, their own 2025 first, but they can't tank enough to make it.
The Bulls get Kevin Huerter, Trey Jones, and they get their own 2025 pick back from the Spurs that was top 10 protected. So like they already were, there was a chance they were going to keep it. This does not mean, Chicago fans, that you're tanking. This means you get to keep the 12th pick.
Right.
Because you're still probably maybe going to the play-in.
They got Zach Collins too. They got, okay, Keith.
Yep.
A lot of these trades, man, they're getting nothing in return.
Where do you want to start? Where do you want to start on this?
I don't want to talk about the Bulls because
okay,
sad.
Yeah.
Let's start with the Kings because I think like Fox and Wemby, like that, man, that makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Zach LaVine on the Kings, on the other hand, to me, Keith, doesn't make a lot of sense. Malik Monk, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis, offensively, all need to kind of touch the ball, right?
Yeah.
Defensively, that's a mess. So, like, I wonder if they're not done yet.
Yeah.
You know, I don't hate the haul of picks they got. I mean, you got 2 firsts, and you got, like you said, 5 seconds. Some of them pretty good. For a guy who asked out, this is not like Luka. Okay, it's a guy who asked out.
The situations could not be more disparate.
Right.
This was a player asked out, also the 30th player in the NBA or so. Yeah. They actually got out ahead of it like they were supposed to. This was like, this was not a Nico. We got out way ahead of it.
I said this, I said this on the Daily, that really what Nico Harrison did, right or wrong, right? He broke the norms of basketball operations, right? Like he broke the way that it's been done. I don't know how, because I can't predict the future, and maybe there are things that we don't know, Keith. But I would say that what the Kings are doing is more by the playbook.
Yeah,
it's, hey, we drafted well. Okay, well, it's not working out. He wants out before this extension. Boom, we move on and we reshuffle the deck. The difference is they don't. I mean, if they're trying to just hang in the middle, they've got a team that's built to do that. They can score, but I just don't think, as you said. Does defense win championships? No, but I think defense can maybe help you stay into play-in if that's your goal.
This just came to me. You know what Nico Harrison did? He like, it's like someone
rug pull.
No, it's like someone who is longing to find someone to love, and they find the perfect person, and they have like the greatest. Maybe this is like your Before Sunset film. You have this wonderful, magical romance, this enchantment. You can't believe how perfect this person is. And you spend a few weeks with them, but in your head, you're like, this is a fairy book. This is the happiest day of my life. But you know what? This feeling won't last for 40 years. So I'm just gonna get out now. You know what? I'm going to get out ahead of it, Dave. I'm going to get out ahead of it. And be like, you know what? I love you, and I've never been happier. But like, let's be real. We'll probably fight some in maybe 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
lose if you don't play, Keith.
The Kings, Dave.
Yeah.
I love what the Kings did here. under the circumstances that were
Sure.
presented to them. You make a great point. Zach LaVine, Malik Monk, and DeMar DeRozan, not what you would draw up in a lab as perfect.
Yeah.
However, one of the things that we keep saying the Kings needed this year is shooting. And Zach LaVine is as good as it gets at 3-point shooting. And there possibly is a world where there's enough ball handling, because like Malik Monk has been playmaking incredibly well of late.
Looks like a
He's
point
been
guard.
awesome.
Yeah.
And of course, DeMar, like you said, these guys like having the ball in their hands, but I think Zach is willing to share. I mean, he's like, I don't think he's taken away from like
Zach LaVine is a very good player who seems like a good teammate when he's out there.
Yeah. So like my biggest takeaway for the Kings is I think there's a chance they didn't get worse. There's a chance they did get worse.
Oh, yeah.
Losing De'Aaron Fox, but there's a chance they did not get worse. And this is just a different look to try. Of course, we have to make the comparison. Well, the Bulls already tried parts of this look, having DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, and it wasn't ideal.
Yeah.
But having Sabonis in there and having these three wing guys, like you say, the defense is, of course, bad. Like, at least you get a taller guy than De'Aaron Fox was. Like, I don't know if it's going to be that much worse. For me, they didn't really get that much worse. They picked up another asset in Zach LaVine, who's a very, very good player. And then they got 2 nice first-round picks. They got 5 very good second-round. Like they got the Bulls pick this year out of it, which is like, if you're the Bulls, how do you not keep your own? Like, that pick's going to be 37th. You can't keep that. Like, what are you doing? I like it for the Kings. I think it's a good job. I'm interested to see how it all works. Maybe it's just a disaster having those guys work together, but I still think they can probably stay in the play-in, and they're going to be entertaining. And this is one of those things that maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Like, I think about, I've been just criticizing the Mavericks nonstop. You were a title contender. Now you're not. For the Kings, you were not a title contender, and it might be a blessing in disguise because, let's be real, De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis were never winning an NBA title.
No.
Unless you somehow drafted, a Kawhi with the 18th pick, or a Giannis with the 7th. Like, those guys were never winning a title. The blessing
the treadmill of mediocrity is
the blessing in disguise is you get to continue a fun, competitive year. You're not bottoming out. You're not tanking. You probably make the play-in. You pick up a good player in Zach LaVine, but you also get those lottery tickets for the future. You restocked your cupboard. You have all these second-round picks. You have extra first-round picks now. This is, I think, what a lot of teams wish they could do. Yeah. But again, they're bound to, I don't know. They have humanity and won't destroy their fan bases and their businesses. This is like, there's like a lot of teams that are like, man, I wish I could actually trade this guy, but we can't because it's a business and we sell a lot of jerseys and like, we're going to deal with this because that's just the hand we've been dealt. The Kings, because Fox requested to go out, they get the opportunity not afforded most teams. They get a get out of jail free card to say, all right, bring in another good, you get a good player plus draft picks. You still get to keep. Like, they didn't have to give up anything. So, except for Fox. So, like, that part of it, I think it's a well done bit of business for the Kings in their situation. From the Spurs, Dave, how good are the Spurs now? Now that they spent these picks to get Fox.
I think they're much better. And they lose very little. Trey Jones, Zach Collins. Okay.
Yeah, those guys weren't playing much.
They get De'Aaron Fox. They kept Stephon Castle. They kept Keldon Johnson, which I thought he was going out in pretty much any trade, which maybe they're not done. Now, the Spurs don't normally make midseason trades like this, so a little bit of a surprise. We'll see what happens. But and they kept Devin Vassell. They didn't even have to trade Sohan. I think this is like a huge win for them.
Yep.
They bring in a guy who wants to be there, who is kind of going into his prime as Wemby is doing whatever on the fly alien evolution he does from night to night. And I don't know, man, they're already pretty good. Like, they're decent and they feel like they're getting better.
I would push back from the getting better. They're sort of slip sliding away from decent. Their schedule finally balanced out. They finally had to start playing road games and I don't know. What are they?
They do some things that definitely show growth.
21-25, 3-7 in their last 10. Like, I don't know.
Wemby cut off a drive the other night and just walks into another one of these one-footed threes. But defensively, the guys around him have learned how to play with him better. Look, Fox is going to supercharge that offense quite a bit. I think they could probably sneak into the play-in. It depends on what Sacramento is going to do, right?
Well,
like,
they're not
all these pieces.
I would say
they're still sneaking.
They're not sneaking. I mean, they're now going to be. Yeah, I love this race in the West because any race is good regardless. But now that we have, De'Aaron Fox chose to go from the 10th seed to the 12th seed.
Right.
He chose to go down the standings. Because that's cool. There's a brighter future with Wemby. But like you have De'Aaron Fox now trying to catch the Sacramento Kings. You have the Mavericks trying to hang on. I mean, the Mavericks, of course, were down 91-46 at halftime. You think that locker room took that well? Yes,
nobody played.
No, a lot of guys missed. A lot of guys set that game out. But like the Mavericks are just trying to hang on. The Kings have won. They're 10-5 since January 1st. And De'Aaron Fox has missed several of those games. So like the Kings are competitive. And now they're bringing in Zach LaVine, who again, we spelled it out last week on the show. His paternity leave lining up with the trade deadline. Brilliant. What incredible planning. He's just
professionalism.
Professionalism. And that's so much of the game is just professionalism. He shows up to work and then they're like, you know what? I'm having my baby. I'll be out until you trade me. Yes. That sounds great, Zach. Thank you. And the Kings are going to be in it. Also, by the way, Dave, we have a report. Jake Fisher saying the Suns are taking offers on Kevin Durant. They're listening. That works for me.
Okay. Now,
does that explain the Jimmy Butler stuff?
It does. Well, the Jimmy Butler stuff is getting tricky because Bradley Beal doesn't want to get traded.
But if Kevin Durant solves that problem,
people saying that the Warriors made calls on Kevin Durant, I want that. And especially after the Luka trade, I think that we're kind of just at a point, let's just do it. Let's tempt fate. Let's throw chaos into every NBA trade we can. I would love to see Kevin Durant back with the Warriors. I think it would be awesome. I don't think that they would be good.
Yeah, they would be better.
I think it would be awesome.
They'd be better than the Mavericks. I can't believe how much I hate what the Mavericks did. Like,
how could
you do that? I mean, I don't know if you've seen it. There are spontaneous fan monuments. Like they're putting flowers and jerseys and posters. It's a monument of grief at American Airlines Center and hatred. It's just like
anti-capitalism.
It's like there's a lot going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
And the Mavericks jumping to the forefront of it. And like, it's pure outrage from the entire fan base. And like, I mean, I worry we're all ganging up. Somehow I've been carried away with like groupthink on this. Like I saw Kevin Pelton gave the Mavs an F in his trade grade for ESPN. And I'm like, yeah, that's how I feel. It's the worst trade imaginable. But like, I mean, the Mavericks they got good players this year. We'll see what happens. Let me ask you, Kevin Durant Warriors. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you though, like we're all in on the Luka trade.
Yeah.
If the Mavericks win the title this year,
we're all
wrong. Change things?
Yes, of course.
Just one. So one title is enough.
But it's not going to happen. So
right.
So
I understand.
We don't worry about it.
I understand.
Yes is the answer. If
you ever feel, Keith, like you woke up in a parallel universe
all the time.
Right. This is one of those. That's kind of how this trade felt.
Every day for 9 years, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. But it seriously, it really does kind of wreck your worldview when you're day in, day out on this stuff. And then one of the few guys who's supposed to be untouchable gets moved.
Yeah. I feel like we shorted the Spurs their attention for getting De'Aaron Fox.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I would. I still think here's one Dallas fans. I still think the Mavericks are better. I think Kyrie and AD plus PJ Washington. I think the Mavericks are better than the Spurs right now. I I don't know why Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson aren't better. It seems like playing with Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama would make them better, but they look worse now. Maybe it's just the fact that the games actually matter for the first time for the Spurs in several years. But I had a higher opinion of those guys before this year. And this year, every time I watch them, I'm like, what do you do? And it's just like,
it's hard, Keith. Like,
yeah. I mean, Steph Castle's great. Like, right. I like Sohan, but also Fox does not alleviate the biggest concern for me now on that team. Who's making 3-pointers? Who's your high volume 3-point shooter? Like, I know Vassell, it's supposed to be, it's Wemby. It's supposed to be Vassell, but like, you know,
that's the problem, right? So Vassell and Keldon Johnson, like, they're playing in such different roles the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
I think this is the thing with tanking teams, when these guys, and they get used to having the ball in their hands all the time, instead of learning how to kind of play and function around a hub that they're trying to do now. Vassell was a guy who, coming into this season, needed to learn how to play off the ball.
Yeah.
He just hasn't been as good.
Yeah. So I don't know how much this pushes the Spurs up this season. Them trying to chase down the play-in is, I guess, a goal, but also it's, if they miss it, it's no big deal. You get that draft, draft pick, and you build for next year. And so the Spurs, I think the price, we talked about this on last week's show, where I'm like, what? I don't know if I get it for the Spurs to go ahead and use your draft capital to bring him in now, but like, second round picks are fungible. You can get more. They did trade 2 useful firsts that maybe, who knows, the 2027, their own first, you expect to be good. So maybe you don't worry about it. A 2031, I believe Timberwolves, that could be good.
Yeah.
That risk seems worth it to get Fox in the door. You know, we'll see how it plays out. Let's actually, let's take a break, and then we'll come back into the awards segment of the program and wrap up the show. All right, Dave, let's take a break from the trade talk to do the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award given to the worst performance in a box score over the past 5 days. We have 3 honorable mentions: Klay Thompson, Nick Smith Jr., and KJ Simpson, 1 for 10. Our 3 nominees: Paolo Banchero in a loss to the Jazz, 4 for 19. Oh, the Magic are struggling bad.
Yeah.
Paolo Banchero was 4 for 19, 9 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 3 turnovers. Kyle Kuzma in a loss to the Lakers, 3 for 14. Oh, congratulations, Wizards, winning a basketball game. Negative congratulations to the Timberwolves.
Oof.
Kyle Kuzma, 3 for 14, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assists, no steals, no blocks, no turnovers, no personal fouls. Perhaps try. Good Lord, man. And then Andrew Wiggins in a loss to the Suns, 6 for 20. He did have 17 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, no turnovers, 1 personal foul. That's just a good game. Anyways, Dave, Paolo, I think, runs away with it. 4 for 19, 9 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Congratulations, Paolo. Dave, before we get out of here, I feel like we do need to recognize a couple of things. Yes,
that the Bucks are getting there. This trade deadline is absolutely
the Bucks are the Bucks.
The
Bucks, the cup run made them look too good. Their schedule, for me, the Bucks have just been the 13th best team all year. Where I'm like, maybe I thought they were worse the first 10 games, but like, they're not that good. Yeah. They cannot guard on the perimeter.
Period.
They ran into the Grizzlies team that just wants to isolate you one-on-one and beat your guy, you know, and it happened every single time. And like, Damian Lillard can't guard anybody.
Jaren looks amazing.
Taurean Prince can't guard anybody. Like Lopez he's not guarding on the perimeter. And so it was tough. No, I wanted to say the best record in the NBA since January 1st, the Pacers, 11-2. We see you also, very notably, Dave, since January 1st, the Raptors are 9-7. The Trailblazers are 9-8. We talked about them last episode. Trailblazers are a fun watch. They are playing hard. Also, the Pelicans, they suffered the DeJounte Murray injury, just devastating blow for DeJounte. But the Pelicans have been winning games. They're actually 7-9. Since January 1st. So those teams are all playing well. And anyways, and now the trade deadline's Thursday. I mean, the Bucks got to do something. The Warriors are acting like they're going to do something. If the Suns are willing to trade Durant, the Suns are 10 games over 500 when Durant plays. So like, what did you expect? You're good. I mean, I don't know. Now they found out Luka Doncic was available. I mean, would the Mavericks, would Nico Harrison have traded Doncic for Kevin Durant?
See, I I don't think so.
Because
No way.
the Suns would have, yes. The Suns
Well,
would
the
have.
Suns would, but at least Anthony Davis, you think you're going to get a couple of seasons.
Is Anthony Davis a better player than Kevin Durant?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very close.
I don't know if it's close. I don't know. It's close, but it's not close.
I mean, Kevin Durant is the superior offensive player.
Right. And AD is by far the better defender. Yeah. It's closer than I guess I want to admit.
Would you have traded Devin if you're the Suns? Would you trade Devin Booker for Luka Doncic? Have Luka Doncic, and Kevin Durant?
Yes. The list of guys, like, I don't know, man. It's like 7 or 8 guys that you don't make that trade for. But it's for reasons like you said. It's because Giannis is the Milwaukee Bucks and the Bucks are Giannis.
Yeah.
Luka was the Mavericks.
Yeah. Anyways, trade deadline is Thursday. We're going to see a lot of movement. It seems like the Heat want to do stuff. Of course, the Lakers probably need to bolster still. It'll be a lot of fun to monitor, but that's all for today. Dave, thanks so much for hanging out. What a show! Emergency trade episode / the regularly scheduled Monday shows back, perhaps for who knows how long. Anyways, scheduling's tough, everybody, but thank you for listening. You guys are the best. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
Yeah, never apologize for being G&G. Fastbreak Break, man. You understand?
I will remember.